never seen.
Yo, what's up guys? It's Bill here for Classic Rock and Metal Review. We got a review for you. This one, Super Deluxe Edition by Elvis, Aloha from Hawaii via satellite. 3 CDs, 1 Blu Ray with this guy. Came out this past August 2023. And the official name of it, Deluxe 50th Anniversary Edition. We're going to go through all the discs, review them all, listen to everything twice, watch the Blu Ray once, talk about the overall package. I'll show you that sort of unboxing that I filmed back when I got it. But we're also going to talk about the whole history of this event happening in the first place. Pretty interesting story if you like rock documentaries. You guys know I try to do a little bit of history with this kind of stuff. Anyway, nothing different here. Today's bloated world of Super Deluxe Edition prices, this was a great value. Elvis fans, you gotta have it. Regular, basic run-of-the-mill fans, man, this is a steal. It's running like under 30 bucks right now. A lot of material for that amount of money and a nice package and all. Before we get that far, cheers, bitches. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad, Melikaliki Maka, and do they know it's Christmas, all right? All that stuff. So let's get into the event history itself. Pretty wild when you think about it. 1973, January, we're barely into 73, worldwide broadcast of a live rock concert, okay? Now, rock, I know, he's not Led Zeppelin, but considering, you know, what had been on TV up till that point. A lot of Andy Williams and Don Ho and stuff like that. Not a whole lot of all-out concerts being broadcast on a major network. So this was probably the first, really. So Elvis, for better or for worse, I'm sure most of you know this, contractually obligated to his manager, Colonel Tom Parker. Not a colonel at all, just a nickname. Who received basically 50% of everything Elvis ever earned. One-off specials like this would be no exception. Parker was an illegal immigrant, born in the Netherlands, came over here when he was 20. Elvis longing to stretch out beyond the United States. He had been in Vegas primarily since 1970. It's pretty much a running thing there toward the US here and there. Really wanted to get to where he had a lot of fans, Europe and Asia. So Parker, of course, afraid, trying to pass through customs, that he would be detained and deported. So coerced Elvis into being able to let people in Europe and Asia see him play live by doing this satellite broadcast event. Part of that was that Elvis had put such a huge band together to play that Vegas show, which he wanted to take with him. And Parker told him it would just be a money loser trying to tour with that many people. Might have had a little bit of a point there, who knows. But this was going to be the first live concert to be seen around the world via satellite. Over 1 billion people was estimated that would be seeing this thing, and in fact that's probably around the number of people that saw it. Estimates were actually higher, but some of them are probably a little ridiculous. But 1 billion is within reason, actually. Previously, the only entertainment broadcast via satellite, I think, was Olympic Games. So this was really something sort of unique. So basically this would achieve the whole goal, letting fans around the world see Elvis without Elvis actually leaving and Parker having to try to go through customs, right? So as far as the shows that took place in Hawaii, there were 2, a rehearsal show and a main show. Parker made a deal with RCA Records to distribute an album of it, and NBC would be the broadcaster of the live event and tape delay event, and we'll get into all that. So it was basically a rehearsal show, January 12th. That footage would be sort of stock footage they could place in case there was any satellite interruption. They could just put that through the feed. The main show was 2 days later, January 14th, 1973. We're at the Honolulu International Convention Center, specifically the Neil S. Blaisdell Arena, which held a little over 6,000 for this show. It normally held more, but the stage for this was sort of expanded, took up some of the seats. 6,000 plus got to witness the rehearsal and then the main show 2 days later. The stage set was actually built in Los Angeles and shipped to Hawaii. Custom suit for this event took like weeks, okay? a team of people putting that together. I think there were multiple suits before Elvis decided on this one. There was actually a special producer brought in for this, a guy named Marty Pacetta, who had done a bunch of other crooner TV specials. He actually went to an Elvis show in LA, 72, when he was asked to be a part of this production. And sat down with Elvis after seeing him live and said he didn't think that Elvis's show was impressive enough to make a 90-minute TV special out of. That he needed a better stage and that he needed to lose weight and to be able to move around enough to entertain people live on TV. Elvis was actually glad that he was so honest. And they ended up having a 4-hour meeting. Elvis went and lost 25 pounds between the fall of 72 and the show's date, doing his karate routine and all that stuff. All right, so on January 14th of 73, this was broadcast live in Asia and the Oceania countries. It was on an hour's delay to Europe just because of the time difference there, but basically broadcast, I guess, the 14th, just later on. There was a 90-minute special made of this live broadcast, not to be shown in the US until April 4th, which I never realized that. That was to avoid conflict with the Elvis on Tour 72 film that was still playing theatrically, released late in 72, and also Super Bowl VII, that took place the date of the live concert, January 14th. The Redskins, Dolphins, when the Dolphins had their perfect season in 73. It was the same date as the Elvis show, which, man, talk about a Sunday, right? Get to watch the Super Bowl and then an Elvis concert that night. Well, not for US people. They didn't get to see it until April 4th, believe it or not. And like I said, estimates vary. Some estimates say 1.5 billion people watched this. Now, I think the population of the Earth was only 4 billion people at the time. So 1.5 billion sounds a little too high. 1 billion seems reasonable, though. The album itself was released quickly, February of 73, went gold in 2 weeks, and to date has sold 5 million copies. There was a quadraphonic version of the album, believe it or not. This was Elvis's first #1 album since 1965, and it would be his last he would ever have. It was also #1 on the country charts. Now, so let's take a good look at the box itself. You know, it's front cover is kind of classic. You know, just keeping with the simple, original album cover, which I think is really cool. No additions there to show you that it's anything different, right? Although you got that great hype sticker on the front. Get all your little highlights there. Really like that on the side, which you figured they would do, but you get the whole sort of Elvis font there. Aloha from Hawaii via satellite. The font's the same. That's kind of cool. On the back, you get the track listing for the CDs, but not for the DVD, which is a little weird. You do get the sort of explanation up top there that you're getting the Blu Ray disc. The booklet is pretty cool. I mean, I read this whole thing while I was watching the Blu Ray, and really like that it's like interesting enough and detailed enough, but overall a pretty quick read, so it doesn't bore you at all. A lot of great pictures, of course, and also band comments about the show itself. Quite a few comments about how nervous Elvis was leading up to this show, that people had never seen Elvis more nervous ever. This is a band that had been with him since 1970, so plenty of shows. Discs come in this nice fold out, sort of case. Really cool. Disc 1 on the left, that's the main concert. Disc 2 is the rehearsal concert from January 12th. Disc 3 is all your bonus songs that were filmed after the main show to be possibly plugged in later, kind of thing. And then the Blu Ray off by itself there. Last page to the right there. And really cool package. Not super sturdy cardboard, but nice enough. Like I said, this is not an overpriced box. $42 I paid originally. Now it's down to $29. For that, man, great content. The booklet itself also mentions how his divorce was recently finalized, how Elvis sort of basically needed a win at this point. And, talk about extra nerves, right? You're kind of like already down in the dumps. You're trying to do this one-off event. It's pretty unique. My history with this concert, I only saw the alternate Aloha once. My cousin had the VHS. This is mid-90s, man. This is the rehearsal concert from January 12th. So I never actually saw the main concert. And that was 25, 30 years ago. Picked up the CD last year and never even listened to it. So I don't have much of a history with this concert other than watching that rehearsal once. But as you know, I'm a big concert video guy. So my biggest attraction to this thing was the Blu Ray. First time on Blu Ray. I mean, it's the ultimate version of the concert, right? The content of the Blu Ray, you get the main show that was broadcast on the 14th. You get the rehearsal from the 12th. You also get every take of the 5 bonus songs that were done in an empty arena. After the main show and arena emptied out, they recorded these 5 songs, bunch of different takes, to get them all a good version of each. So you get the whole experience, like sort of fly on the wall kind of experience, watching Elvis do multiple takes of each song. So as far as the picture, let's talk about the Blu Ray first. The picture. Some of the criticism that I was reading back when I ordered this thing, or a week or two afterwards when people got it, that it looks like the VHS was put on a Blu Ray. You know what? That's actually what happened. So if it looks like that, that's because pretty much that's what happened. Unlike his other tour films, concert films, 68 Comeback Special, Elvis on Tour 72, that's the way it is. They were all shot on film. This was only recorded on the videotape, unfortunately. So standard definition video is the lineage with this. That's all you have. Picture quality, of course, good, very good. Not what you get with your typical Blu-ray upgrade these days. Get some of those horizontal lines drifting on up the screen, just like the Sabbath Long Island video we just talked about. I don't know what it was with cameras back in the 70s. That's sort of how they just recorded things, I guess. General lack of clarity, in some spots. Some like blurry discolorations here and there. All this stuff is just random. Doesn't happen the whole time. Some of this stuff just sort of trolls up the screen slowly, varying degrees of frequency and I guess amount of how imperfect they look. Those hoping for some great upgrade versus their DVD, I'm sure, disappointed. Now, to me, since I didn't own it at all, and now that I know it's not going to get any better, you're going to notice these imperfections when you watch it. Not much you can do about it. But you know what? It's as good as it can be. That's good enough for me. All right. It's not like it looks like a horrible bootleg. Just wasn't perfect from the beginning. Also, some of that at some points during this show, there's actually like fuzzy line at the very top of the screen. You almost don't notice it until you look up there, but when you look up there, then it's hard to not notice it, kind of thing. And that's just there here and there during the show. And it's basically looks like static, snow or whatever, but just the really thin line across the top. I think it's worse at the left side of the screen than the right. So overall, yeah, it's very watchable, of course. Sound on the Blu Ray, like very good, maybe even better than that. The band, however, sounds low in the mix. They sound like they need to be louder. And it's almost like Elvis isn't loud enough either. The whole overall sound is just low to me. It's kind of weird. It's weird once you hear the discs, the CDs, because they sound great. It's not CD sound on this Blu-ray to me, which is just like, I don't know. Maybe the sound's being drawn right off the videotape too. I don't know why it wouldn't have been remixed. I'm just saying the sound could be better, especially once you hear the discs, because the discs sound awesome. So, like I said, preserved as well as possibly could be. Now, the show on the Blu-ray, it's good. In spots, it's very good. Elvis, he's in great shape. His voice sounds really good. No problems with his voice. I've heard it better. I've seen better shows. He looks nervous, honestly. And he sounds a little nervous also. He's sweating like 2-3 songs in. Like he's like 8 songs into the show already. It's his first show outside of Vegas in 6 months. That's part of it. And of course, the whole satellite broadcast thing. A worldwide live show, basically. I guess that'll do it. Even someone like Elvis, The overall show, basically, on video, it's good. It's just lacking something. You know, there's all this sort of, I mean, here you go, this gigantic package, right? And you expect it to be this awesome thing. Elvis has way better concerts than this. But this is still good. Don't get me wrong. But his nerves kind of come through. The sound could be better. That's the Blu Ray I'm talking about. The same could be said for the Rehearsal Show. Rehearsal Show seems a little less nervous, a little more laid back, and a little bit better. Not by leaps and bounds. Everything else about it's the same. Picture quality, band being a little low in the mix. The extras. I watched them once. I don't even know if I made it all the way through. It's just cool that this Blu Ray is all inclusive. Every scrap of footage is here, you know. Rehearsal show, main show, and all the takes of all the extras. So, not sure I need 6 versions of one song and what have you. Don't even really care. These songs tend to be not my favorites anyway. Early Morning Rain's pretty killer though. Love that one. So, completest material as far as the extras go. Let's talk CDs, music CDs. You know, after I watched the Blu Ray, which, like I said, was a rehearsal show, main show, all the extras, I was kind of thinking I'd do this review without even listening to the CDs. I knew I would, but the thought crossed my mind. And man, that would have been a damn mistake. Totally wrong there, thinking it wouldn't matter. Because, man, let's just talk the main show first, for one thing. It's a new remix, and it sounds friggin' fantastic. Compared to that Blu Ray, it blows it away. Another modern remix of an old recording, you know, live recording, that's just such a noticeable improvement. I mean, like, we had Live Evo earlier this year, the Richard Wright Wet Dream CD. These things are just sounding better and better, you know. Gone are the days, I think, finally, where things were just over-compressed and sounded like shit. This sounds awesome. The instrument separation is incredible. And now, instead of a sort of massive sound, I did throw this on, like I said, last week, just to hear the difference with the sound. You know, just all one big sort of sound. Now, it's stereo and all that, but the instrument separation on the box set is insane. It's almost like you got things coming out of like 6 different speakers. It's just really good. And it's really rich, full bass-driven sound. The bass on here is awesome sound. I love heavy bass. If you don't, you're not probably going to like this. Bass kind of rules here. Lots of depth. And really it improves the whole overall show experience. Really just does. And you know what? I guess because you're not having that visual of seeing Elvis nervous, the CDs to me are way better than the video, honestly. Favorites on here, CC Rider, love it. Goes right into Burnin' Love, another one that's great. It's Over, really sort of poignant after that recent finalization of the divorce. What Now, My Love? I couldn't tell you a damn thing about this song. I know I've heard it before, but I couldn't tell you what album it's from, what era it's even from. Sounds like it could be early 60s, I don't even know. It sounds amazing. This is a great song. The background singers really just kill this one. Welcome to My World's really good. Of course, Suspicious Minds is cool. You know what? Not a lot of like all out, jump out at me favorites on this thing. I'm just going to say this though. It's 24 songs, or 22, depending on which concert, 70 some minutes. So this show just goes by so fast. He does those fast versions of the old songs. His more sort of current material, those songs weren't long either, you know, 2-3 minute songs. So, you know, it just goes by so fast. It really left me wanting more by the end of this first CD. And the same could be said for the second CD, the rehearsal CD in this case. Just as good a concert. Maybe like I said in talking about the Blu Ray, he seems a little less nervous. The show seems a little better for it. Not by leaps and bounds. Still not his best live show ever. But man, this show sounds amazing too, as far as sound quality. And it's a really good show. And what I really like about it, even though we got all these 20-some songs, they're shorter versions, like I said. But you know, if there's something you don't really love, a minute and a half, two and a half minutes later, it's over and you're listening to something else. It's just really, you know, almost something made for nowadays with people's short attention spans kind of thing. And, you know, I like to think I have a pretty good attention span. So maybe that's kind of why I think I was wanting more when this thing was over. Not really much of an improvement with the Blu Ray. That's the sort of final word as far as that goes. But if you know that going in, you know, which I kind of sort of did by the time I watched it, you know, How can you argue with this? Two great shows from Elvis, all the extras on CD, both shows and all the extras on the Blu-ray too. Unfortunately, the Blu-ray is never going to look any better, but that's also the good part about this. You've got the definitive version of the video concert also. Elvis, Aloha from Hawaii via satellite. It was a damn event. You know, you got to admit, man, even if you're not an Elvis guy, this is something pretty historic. Under 30 bucks. Cool book and photos with it all. Total thumbs up for me on this guy. All right, guys, that's going to do it for now. Elvis Aloha from Hawaii, Super Deluxe Edition, or as they call it, the 50th Deluxe Edition, something like that. Guys, be catching this soon enough. Everyone have a great day.